variety pack. Food and friends with Canada's best. From east to west, there and back. Eat North Variety Pack. 'Cause variety's the spice of life.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Eat North Variety Pack. If you haven't watched the show before, you really need to start, so make sure you hit the subscribe button below. We talk about a lot of fun things on Variety Pack, food and drinks, obviously, but also art, music, and a ton more. With that said, I'm going to bring on my two co-hosts for tonight, Steve Brochu of Edmonton and Deepi Harish. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hey, how we doing, everybody?
Great, nice to see you. And Steve, thank you for stepping in. You've become our favorite sub co-host for the show. We're giving Mairlyn the week off, and we're happy to have you.
No problem. It's all part of my plan to take over her job.
Well, I'm happy she's not here to hear that. That's hard to say.
Oh, I'm sure we'll get back to her.
Yes, I'm sure. But I was reading recently that, I don't think it's any surprise to any of us that America is doing very well in terms of vaccinating their residents. And cities like New York now are allowing people that are fully vaccinated to dine inside the restaurants again, while people that are half vaccinated or not vaccinated at all have to still eat outside. Do you think that's the kind of thing that we're going to see as these vaccinations roll out in Canada? Steve?
Oh, me first. Cool. I kind of hope we get into like the dog on the restaurant side. Like if you're fully vaccinated, come out to the restaurant. If you're half vaccinated, you stay outside. I like that. It'll be interesting to see how far we make it with our side. I mean, New York is fully vaccinated, which is amazing. The cost on their restaurants and their lives was a lot higher than what we're seeing in Alberta right now. But I'm hoping come August, we can sit inside a restaurant and not do dishes.
Well, someone will have to do the dishes, just not you.
Someone will have to, but oh man.
And Deepi?
Hell no. Our local government is so just reactionary rather than strategic. I don't see this happening. Plus, I feel like it's quite hard to verify if you've been vaccinated and if you've not been vaccinated. Like, I remember when restaurants in Toronto were just open for 2 weeks. You could only go if you were from the same household, but there's nowhere to wait to verify that. So I don't think it's going to stick, at least not in Toronto. Do you know that, fun fact, Toronto is actually now the one city in North America that's been in lockdown the longest. So we have, I don't think anything is going to work out here. It's all or nothing. We're doomed.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's not all doom and gloom for much longer. I think with vaccinations rolling out, I do see some light at the end of the tunnel for sure. But moving on to slightly brighter things that are still happening are cookbooks. And Steve, I know you and your wife are cooking out of this new book by Lauren Toyota, Hot for Food All Day. How's that going?
It's awesome. We're about a quarter of the way through. It's a different book than I'm used to cooking out of, but it's awesome. The recipes are they're hot. They're
fun. I think they're a ton of fun.
They're fun. They're open to interpretation, and I think the idea is to have fun while you're making the food from her book. It's great. I love it, and there's a great use of new vegetables that we haven't played around with. It's funny, we were just talking, every time I check social media, it's around this time where I start to see the chefs I follow post fiddleheads and ramps.
Yes.
Because it's spring now. And I guess question to the group, what are your thoughts on ramps and fiddleheads?
Deepi, go first.
Sure. I like fiddleheads. I mean, I've never personally cooked with them. I remember my mom's made them. She's made them into a sabji, which is like an Indian vegetable dish that you eat with roti. But I mean, I like having them on a side of a sirloin steak. But I haven't actually cooked them myself. But is it true? I hear that they're poisonous if you eat them raw. Is that?
Not even just raw, but it has to be cooked to a certain point, right, Steve?
Yes. Soaked and then blanched is the way I've handled them before, and they are poisonous. Not like fatally poisonous, but they'll definitely know something's wrong.
Yes. Yes. You know what? I've had ramps in things like aiolis and pestos, but I've never actually had a prepared ramp dish. Like, I've never had a cooked ramp. So I understand there's sort of like a mild onion, but I've never had them. Fiddleheads, obviously, very distinct flavor. I would say sometimes almost, like green, fresh meets swampy. Is that a fair descriptor for a fiddlehead? But it's funny because people get so excited because we're in most parts of Canada, things don't grow forever. It's going to be probably June before we get a decent amount of local produce at a farmer's market in a city like Edmonton or Calgary. So I think a lot of people rush to what's growing, and fiddleheads and ramps are those two first things. But yeah, I don't necessarily know if they taste as good as people are excited for them, if that makes sense.
Okay.
100%. Yeah.
All right, my turn. Okay, so I feel like sandwiches are really having their moment. In Toronto, I've been getting some great sandwiches. We're talking Wagyu beef, we're talking duck, made in like homemade matcha bread, just really fancy shit. And I've noticed that
fancy shit. We only use the best words here on Variety.
And I've noticed that they're always cut differently. Some are diagonal, some are triangles, some are rectangles. I want to ask you guys, when you make sandwiches at home, do you have a preference on how they're cut? Before you say your answers, I want to say I'm very partial to grilled cheese sandwiches only being cut diagonally. I feel like they taste the best that way, but what's your take? Let's start with you, Steve.
So it's a grilled cheese sandwich. It's crust off to become little dippers for my ketchup next door, and then it's on a diagonal.
Right. And how about other sandwiches?
If it's like a banh mi or anything like that, right down the middle is fine with me. I don't really like a clubhouse with a large enough sandwich like that. The classic X cut on top of it looks really cool, but I'm not too picky.
Well, this is sort of embarrassing and is slightly off topic, but I recently had a Subway sandwich and from the chain, and I sort of regretted it. But do you remember when we were younger when Subway used to cut the buns differently and sort of they'd hollow them out?
Yes. They scoop out the soft bread. Yeah. I
was thinking the other day that maybe I should open my own boutique chain where I did that again. I'm hearing not much response, so I'm not sure if that's okay.
I actually do that at home. I always do that because I find there's so much bread, so I do that at home. But is that enough idea for a sandwich shop?
Well, I think you're venturing into the world of muffin tops only.
Yes, which I also feel like probably would be a successful venture, especially for people our age, which is 25 plus. We'll go with, but I think any business idea is as good as the person behind it. You can always be clever and find a way. But I think that's actually a decent segue for our first guest. Mai Nguyen is on the current season of MasterChef Back to Win, and she's launched a very successful dumpling company in Edmonton after appearing on the show in the 4th season, which I think was about 4 years ago now. We're going to play a little teaser of her from a recent episode and then have a chat.
I'm working on the second course. I'm going to be making a stuffed seafood dumpling. This is my first savory dumpling dish here, so this is how I make my money. Taya's already had a chance to make a stuffed pasta in the vegan challenge, but I haven't had a chance to showcase a savory stuffed dumpling pasta yet, and I really want this opportunity to do so.
Mai, thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you so much for having me.
It's been so fun watching you on this season of MasterChef Back to Win, MasterChef Canada Back to Win. One thing that I really like about this season in particular is that it's taking home cooks from previous seasons, but since you've had a break from the show, a lot of people that appeared on the show have sort of gone into their own business or done their own thing, and you have done that. So do you want to talk a bit about how your culinary skills have advanced since the first season you were on?
Oh, for sure. It's so advanced now that I'm basically teaching home cooks now from previously where I was before. Since my first season, I really, really wanted to actually gain culinary experience. And I thought the best way was to go and work at a restaurant. So I worked at Korean Noodle Shop and then segued into Bira. And then I had the opportunity to start making dumplings, and then the Korean noodle guys were like, hey, do you want to sell your dumplings here? I'm like, absolutely. So that's how I started the dumpling business. It was just really fun. I actually don't have that background story of learning how to make dumplings from my grandma or my mom. I'm 100% self-taught, so it's just something I found really interesting and I latched onto.
Well, I think it's interesting that you say that it wasn't sort of like a run in the family sort of thing, because the way that you fold your dumplings are beautiful. I think we can show a picture here. They're so stunning, and the colors you put into them too. I feel like maybe, do you think that you've got creative that way because you weren't taught a certain way over the years?
I guess so. Like, I guess I wasn't stuck in my ways, and I was just so interested to learn more. So basically, I became a sponge and watched all the videos and watched all the old grannies folding dumplings and just tried to copy them.
That's great. And now, Steve, awesome. You're also based in Edmonton. So have you two ever crossed paths before?
I believe we have. Maybe?
I definitely have heard of Steve. I knew he worked at Chartier, and I know he runs Milk Crate now, but I've never actually come face to face with him before.
That's awesome. No, Prairie Noodle and Bira here in the town are the restaurants to work at. Did you have experience at either of those two joints before you went on to MasterChef?
Yeah, well, just the second time, obviously. The first time around, we were only supposed to be home cooks, and we weren't allowed to have any industry or professional experience or school experience. So definitely the second time around, I had professional experience.
I'm sure that helped you a lot, right?
Yeah, for sure. Just like
awesome.
Being able to perform under pressure is the biggest thing.
Just watching the trailer there, I immediately am stressed out about the pressure that you're under there. What is the what's the shoot like? Is it a full day of shooting, and then you do your competition, and then you spend 8 hours doing interviews?
It's actually just like that 1 hour, however long that challenge is how long we spend in the kitchen. And outside of that, they kick us out of there, and we're just like in interviews all day, and just basically waiting for interviews or being interviewed.
Wow, that's awesome.
Hi May, nice to meet you.
Yeah.
I feel like you're known for creating out of the box or pushing the boundaries with your dumpling flavors. What is one of the most wildest flavors that you've recently created, or one that's being in the works right now that you're developing?
In the works right now, I don't know. I'm not doing anything too crazy right now, but I think one of my more interesting ones that I have created was like an oyster soup dumpling for one of my pop-ups, and I used squid ink to color and flavor the outside of the wrapper. It didn't go over too well, but it was really fun to make.
So with soup dumplings, is it imperative to have like the ratio of soup to filling to the wrapper? Like, how does that work? Is it a
yeah, basically a lot of people think that you actually inject the soup into the dumpling after it's cooked, but like you basically turn whatever broth that you are adding into the dumpling into an aspic or a jello, and that's how you get that liquidy soup on the inside.
When I first found that out, that blew my mind too, because it's sort of like the caramel bar. We don't really know how they make it, so I mean, I feel like a soup dumpling is much along those lines of people. Without knowing, you're like, how do you get the soup in here? So yeah, I found that fact really interesting too. So returning to the MasterChef Canada kitchen after a few years off, did anything really change for you competition format wise, or is it sort of the same motions, just different challenge themes? Oh.
Sorry, I didn't catch the last.
No, it's all right. No, I think you just cut out for a second. I was just wondering, after taking a few years off from MasterChef Canada and coming back, was it did it feel the same to you? Like, the same sort of daily motions in production and just different themes, or was everything a bit different?
It honestly felt kind of the same. Like, what's coming towards you. You're more seasoned this time. They can't really, well, I guess like the surprise is still there because you're always going in blind. Unlike like the baking show where they do like get some time. We absolutely go into each challenge blind, and I guess you're more prepared for it because you kind of have a set of ideas already just based on experience. Just feel like, in case this is a challenge, this is what I might do. Like, you already have some background in cooking, so you can always adapt whatever they're going to give you to a dish that you kind of have in mind.
Oh, absolutely. And one thing I've always found interesting about competition shows like MasterChef Canada and Top Chef Canada is that there definitely is some sort of camaraderie that's formed between competitors, but at the same time, you're also competing for money. So how do you balance being friendly to your competitors, but also wanting to win?
Well, basically, you don't ever want to win by like tearing someone down,
Yes.
right? I think that came up on the last episode where they're like, "Oh, you're so strategic about the voting or whatever."
Mm-hmm.
But like obviously, strategy comes in play. There's $100,000 on the line,
Right.
but you also don't want to be dirty or crooked about it, right? So you
Oh,
still have
absolutely.
to stay true to who your character is, I think. So.
Oh, 100%. And last thing I just want to touch on before we let you go is about a month ago, you were sharing a lot of information on your Instagram account, which is, by the way, you have the best Instagram handle name. Macaroon. I love it. It's so good. Best. I love a good pun, especially when it involves a name. But anyway, you're talking a lot about MSG and the misconceptions surrounding it. Do you just want to talk a little bit about why you felt that it was important to share that? Because I do agree, a lot of people just don't understand that seasoning.
Yeah, no, MSG has been proven to be safe for like at least like 60 years now, but it just keeps coming up, like especially teaching a lot of classes to home cooks that may not have that background knowledge. They're always asking about MSG if they can add it to in a recipe. I'm like, absolutely, it's 100% safe. It's just a form of salt. It's basically a bonus salt. And it was just basically sprung on by the recent Asian hate and
absolutely.
Asian violence. So a lot of people don't even understand why they associate MSG with just Asian foods, but MSG is like widely used and prevalent in all types of food, not just
for sure. I would say a lot of popular modern restaurants use it in a lot of dishes. People just don't even think about it, right? You're right, they don't have that association, but they should, because it really is. If you're eating a dish and it's extremely delicious and you can't quite put your finger on it, it might be MSG.
Yeah, it's just like if you're going to be singling out MSG, you should do it with all types of food and not specifically one type of genre.
Absolutely. No, I could not agree more. So we're heading into one of the final episodes of MasterChef Canada Back to Win this Sunday night on CTV. How are you feeling being in the final five and also watching yourself back on TV?
It's you're never going to get used to watching yourself on TV. It's such an odd experience, but it's very exciting. It's such an honor to actually be brought back, just because there's been lots of contestants, and to be chosen, it's really cool.
Oh, no, I bet. No. So congratulations on how you're doing on the show. It's been really fun to watch you, and I can't wait to watch on Sunday night.
Thank you so much. Awesome. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you. Nice to see you. Bye. That was a fun conversation. Steve,
Awesome.
I feel like you need to do a collaboration at Milk Crate or something.
I absolutely do. I'm going to contact her as soon as we're done here.
Yes.
It's fantastic. She's so cool.
Well, we don't have too much longer, just maybe 10 or 15 minutes. So.
Wait. You know what's interesting is also for MasterChef, there's a 100,000 grand prize at the end. I just covered, the recaps for Great Canadian Baker, and all you get is bragging rights. Dude, come on.
Yeah, that's interesting. And actually, Steve, you've also been on Fire Masters, which is a different format because it's just a one-day shoot, I think. But
yeah, it's similar to like Chopped.
Yeah, do they give you a party or something to get you through the day, or is it just you're just on and that's it?
Did you say a party?
Well, God, I would per diem. I would love to have a party, but not yet.
They fed us. We had a lunch. The cooks on crew made us some amazing food out of the commissary food truck that was there. And yeah, it was like what May said, it was a whole day of shooting. And after our episode, we all went to the bar after and had a really good time.
Well, I mean, like, what do you do after filming? I feel like filming a culinary show is not unlike working in a kitchen. After you're done, you just want to have a drink, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And then the challenge was like you'd go into this little room and then you'd have to work on your interview questions because you'd have to talk in the present tense instead of and then I cut myself. No, and I cut myself.
Yeah.
It's weird.
Yeah. We also enjoy talking in present tense here on E North Variety Pack. We are moving on to our next guest. We always end the show with a talented musical guest. So we are going to hear a song from Maddisun, who's a singer based in Cranbrook, and then chat with her after.
Hello, Maddisun here. I am a singer-songwriter and musician from Cranbrook, British Columbia. I'm super happy to be playing a set here for Eat North's Variety Pack. This is going to be a really sweet show, so I hope everybody enjoys the music, and I'm going to be doing a little interview at the end too, so stay tuned. You can listen to all my music under Maddisun, Maddisun, on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, YouTube, wherever you listen to music. So I'm here to play my new single, Meant to Be, with you guys. This is a feel-good, positive tune about just staying true to yourself. All right. Trapped inside this maze of trying to figure out who I'm meant to be. Who did you think I'd be? Someone that you'd wanna see. And I'm getting so tired of trying to be what you need. And I'll break away today. Let me take away the pain in some kind of way. Yeah, I'm not who you thought I'd be. I'm only trying to be me. And I always felt like we've been trapped inside this maze of trying to figure out who to believe. Do you? Do you? Do you believe in me? And I'll break away today. Let me take away the pain in some kind of way. Yeah. Ooh, ooh, hey, hey, hey. This time I won't let you believe that I'm not what you need. So I'm telling you, you're exactly who you're meant to be. Exactly who you're meant to be. Ooh, ooh, hey, hey, hey. Hey, hey, hey.
Great job, Maddisun. Thank you for singing us into your interview. That's such a beautiful song.
Thanks, Dan. Yeah, I was really happy to come on here. I know that I had reached out to you in hopes that I would get on, and here we are.
Well, we're not quite The View, but we're happy to have you. So
Yeah, no, it's great.
it's a fun show. Yeah. No, but your single "Meant to Be," which came out earlier this year, it's such a beautiful song. And earlier we were chatting as well, and you're from Cranbrook, which is great. I feel like that's part of the Kootenays that a lot of people maybe haven't explored. But there's some good food in Cranbrook. It's not a booming food scene, but there's a few things there that I love, like soul food, for example, is one of my favorites.
Well, actually, that's funny because I'm going to Soul Food after this show. Yeah, I was usually after a show, or generally I play in restaurants in Cranbrook.
Mm-hmm.
So after a show, going out for food is like the number one thing to do, and drinks.
Yes, of course. Well, if you see the owner Danielle, tell her that we say hi. Also a MasterChef Canada alum as well, but.
Oh, cool. Yeah, she is. I'll totally say hi. Yeah, I hope Danielle's there.
Yeah, definitely. So yeah, let's chat music for a bit. Yeah, your song came out in January, I believe. So what else do you have in the pipeline for later this year? Now that things are hopefully going to get back to normal, especially for the music industry, come late summer.
Yeah, so I released my debut album, Self Reflections, in August, and that was supported by a Creative BC career development grant, which was really awesome. So getting that grant kind of kickstarted my career quite a bit. And once I released the album, then I kind of took it easy for a while and then released Meant to Be in January. And it's doing super well. Like it's already at over 30,000 streams.
Which is amazing. Congrats.
January. Yeah. So being from Cranbrook, like that's really special because Cranbrook is such a small town. So yeah, I actually, which is really exciting, I have a single releasing in a month on May 28th. And this is definitely a new sound. It's a new vibe for me. The song is called Rush, and it's really like electro pop, synth pop, kind of like Y2K sort of sound.
Okay.
Yeah,
I remember having a Y2K party when I was quite young. The world didn't end, so...
I think I was 4.
Okay. Well, we won't say how old I was, so... Not 4.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm old. That's what I've been referencing a lot this podcast. Or not.
Well, Y2K is coming back. Yeah. It's back in full force. And amazing. Like the whole vibe with that is, yeah, I've got like some really cool kind of like digital pixel art. And then we did like a homemade music video that we actually shot last night out in like the middle of my street. And that's going to be out too. So yeah, everyone stay tuned for the release of that single in a month.
Oh, that's exciting. Steve, what kind of music do you listen to in the kitchen?
Oh, wow. In the kitchen? Depends on my mood. It usually falls under like the Black Keys or a Jack White Essential. But then I'll mix in like the soundtrack to In the Heights or Hamilton. Or a podcast.
Good mix.
Yeah.
Are there any female musicians in there?
Oh,
there are. Lana Del Rey makes an appearance. The new Taylor Swift album is absolutely on there. It's incredible. But I wanted to ask, with COVID, and you pumped out an album and released a single and have another one on the way, you didn't waste a lot of time. Did you find a moment in the summer to do any backyard sessions or driveway outdoor venues?
Yes, I actually did such a cool event at my house. So I was going to mention as well, because Dan asked me what my kind of plans were. Of course, I hope to go on tour. And that was something that I was really lacking after releasing the album. Like I would have loved to tour it. But what I did was a backyard album release show, where I actually had a local food truck come and a local vintage boutique that drives around in like a vintage truck. She has like a big old like vintage like maintenance truck, and she sells vintage clothing out of it. So they both pulled into the yard and we did the show, and like it was really cool. I had another performer there as well, and she played before me, and I sold a bunch of merch and had people hanging out and had a fire, and that was amazing. So I really, really hope to do another one of those in the next couple of months if I can.
Yeah, you don't even need a pandemic for that. That's amazing. It sounds awesome.
Yeah, it was like a mini festival.
Yeah. I love that.
I don't even know you, and that whole vibe, that whole scene, I could see it play out in my head, and it seems like so you.
Yeah, it's very Kootenai vibes, very Kootenai.
Maddisun, I wanted to know, so I feel like with folk music, there's very distinct sounds and instruments that are being used, whether it's a banjo, a guitar, a ukulele, but for your specific sound, what do you think is the best instrument that shows off your vibe?
Probably a keyboard, like an electronic keyboard sound. So something that's kind of more like dreamy and kind of like a pad almost, I guess. And then probably like a Telecaster electric guitar sound, something kind of lo-fi.
Oh, I didn't expect you to say any of that.
I'm not a traditional folk artist, really. Like some of my music is folky, but like I'm quite eclectic. Like I have some blues, I have some like kind of reggae on my album. I have like one single called Mountain Air that's actually about the Kootenays, and that the whole intro to that song is like a math rock song. So it's like really heavy, like drum beats and like guitar harmonics, super like, yeah, math rock. And then I have like some electronic music, or what I call indie tronica. Yeah, it's pretty genre bending, I guess.
Very cool. Hey.
What's the production process like for this new single that comes out next month when you can't travel as much as you normally would? Are you doing a lot of home production, or just dealing with a lot of people by kind of recording your own vocals and then sending them to someone?
Yeah, so I've actually had a couple really cool projects lately. With the new single Rush, my boyfriend has actually done a lot of the production, and he's also my guitarist. So he produced Meant to Be as well. And we've just been doing it from home. So pretty much here is where a lot of the magic happened. This is where I recorded the vocals, and we did a lot of the tracking. And then he produces upstairs in the attic, does the rest of it, does the mixing, which is really cool. And so we get to do everything kind of at home, and it all gets to happen really, really fast. But then I was also doing this other project with a fire service company, and I'm writing a jingle for their fire safety campaign, which was an amazing kind of gig that I just sort of landed. And I'm also doing the narration for the whole kind of animation video. And that was really cool because I would record something, and then I would send it to them, and we'd do a little call and kind of go over things, and then I'd send them something else. And I just finished it the other day, so it's going to be out in the world pretty soon.
That's great. A Calgary-based artist, Mariah Stokes, did our jingle featuring Devin Cooper on the guitar, and she also said creating a jingle is sort of like a whole different world, not even a genre. It's like it's its own musical thing, you know.
It is. It totally is. It's its own like realm of musicianship, I guess.
Absolutely. And on that note, we'll let you go, Maddisun. It was really great talking to you. Thanks so much for performing for us, and I'm excited to hear the new song next month.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me on here on Eat North. This has been great.
Had some tons of fun.
Thank you.
And thank you to my lovely co-hosts, Steve Brochu, Deepi Harish. We're back at it next Thursday night at 7 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next week.
Eat North Variety Pack. Food and friends with Canada's best. From east to west, there and back. Eat North Variety Pack. 'Cause variety's the spice of life.